What's up, guys? It's your boy Brennan, aka Drip, back with another video and deck profile. And if you couldn't tell, all the real OGs, when they see this playmat, they know exactly what the hell this is. Outside of the fact that the thumbnail is a giveaway, if you are not an OG and you want to know the scoop, anytime you see this playmat, you're, from me at least, you are always going to get a Blue Eyes deck profile. This deck profile has been long awaited for a lot of you, and I apologize that I made y'all wait so long. I just wanted to work on the list and make it my own and make it as most consistent as possible, along with being defensive as possible, and just be able to get to what I wanted it to get to. One thing I will say right off the bat, outside of hitting the like button and the subscribe button like you should already have already, 93% of you guys are returning people that watch my videos but are not subscribed. So if you're going to come back, man, you might as well just hit the subscribe button. Bell notification so you never miss an upload. Discord down below if you want to become closer to the DDD fam. But just to be aware, it's not a sensitive place down there. So if you're very sensitive and get your feelings hurt easily, it's probably not the place for you. We like to joke with each other and everything. I say that before every video, basically, when I talk about the Discord. On top of that, merch in the description below. Get yourself a DDD shirt. Whatever you want. We even have freaking cooking aprons down there. Also, PayPal in the description if you feel like supporting the channel in that way too. But again, back to the deck profile. One thing I will say is this deck profile is different from what you're used to seeing from other people's deck profiles. I have my own way of playing the deck and the way I feel like Blue Eyes should be played. Now, everybody has their own opinions. I get that. But this is my way and what I see to be the best way and what I feel like Blue Eyes should be played. You may have a completely different outlook on it. That's perfectly fine. But one thing I will say is I have played Blue Eyes in every single way humanly possible. So before you end up going into the comment section and trying to convince me otherwise, just save us both the time, please. I've played this deck many ways, and this is the way I want to play it, and this is the way I like to play it, and I think personally is the best way to play it. So with that being said, this is not going to be an XC spam. I'm not running Nebula Dragon. I'm not running the Galaxy Eyes cards. If I wanted to run Galaxy Eyes extra deck, I would run Galaxy Eyes itself. I play that deck as well, so you're not going to find none of that here. I don't care about the utility it gives. So we're not running 97. We're not running all those Draglubian bullshit. I have ran that in the past, but I'm not running it in this list. Another thing, fun fact, this is going to be the first pure version of this deck that I've ever made on this channel. So shout outs to that. Another thing that's actually cool too, fun fact about the channel, around this time 2 years ago was when my channel actually was made. It was I think today's the 18th. I think my first video was March 20th 2020, and it was actually a Blue Eyes deck profile. So the time of recording this, it's March 18th. So I thought it would be also a really good thing to go ahead and upload this too, just kind of to be special about starting out with the first video being Blue Eyes, and then 2-year basically anniversary to be Blue Eyes. So it's another thing too. On top of that, shout outs to Smart Cards for their awesome Field Center, their limited edition Smart Field Center. So if you guys managed to get one, then that's awesome. If you all didn't, I'm sorry. This is really cool. It interacts with your phone. Sadly, it can't interact with my phone because my phone's too old, but we'll eventually update to where it can. If you did get one, then shout outs on joining the fam on that. Very durable, very nice, very awesome, well made Field Center. And high tech at that, so just like Kyber Corp should be. But with that being said, enough with all that. Let's go ahead and get into the profile, and I'll talk more about like my decision making, along with the reason why I did what I did, and if I were to potentially change anything, what I would potentially change. Started out, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Started out, I am still on 3 Blue Eyes. I cut it down to 2. But I decided that with this build and my version, 3 is what I need. By the way, I know this is a little bit different to what you're used to seeing with my Blue Eyes deck profiles, because normally I have my 3 DDSs here, but this is a special occasion, so I decided to whip these bad boys out. And some of y'all are probably like, how does it get more special than triple DDS? Well, I still got the 1 DDS, but these two are special to me because this one I've had since I was a little kid. I've had this since I was like 10 years old, 9 years old, and then this one I got off of a friend, and it just is special to me and sentimental because I've really wanted one for a long time, and my friend looked out for me and he hooked me up. But I know a lot of people don't like this. They call it the broken neck art. Here to burst your bubble. That's actually my favorite artwork. The one where he's in front of the original Shonen Jump promo where he's in front of the earth. This one right here is my favorite. And then this is my second, obviously. But yeah, 3 blue eyes. Through testing, 3 blue eyes I felt like was good for my list because some of the tech cards and the cards that I run in my list, the third one did come up, which you'll see when I get there, and I'll talk about it when I get there. But if I were to trim something down, it would potentially be the vanilla here. But right now, 3 is necessary. On to the more of the big dragons. We got 1 alternative, 1 jet. Jet, I'm not running 2 jet. I like the 1. 1 abyss. And then I am running the spirit dragon. So let me scoot these up so I can put them down here. Okay, so this is my lineup. It has too many like restrictions to mean, like, how do I explain this? He's a very good card, and for the longest time he was our best extender, but with the new support you don't really crutch on him as much. I mean, you still crutch on him, but you don't need the second one for the grind game because there's plenty of ways of recycling this card, so, or getting it back on field. So the second one does not come up. Second one actually bricks. And we don't want to give any more fuel to the reason for people to call us brick eyes. So the 1 in testing is amazing. The only fun fact, I brick on this card more than I do any other cards. More than this one, actually. I brick on this one more than this one because this in your hand's kind of shitty unless you have Dictator. So this is mandatory, I feel like now. I did try to cut it at one point, but through testing, I found it to be like really necessary with skill drain because it can you can use this off Sage and then bring this out and then use this effect to banish the skill drain and then tribute this, like, because if you have vanilla in hand, special summon this, banish the skill drain, pop this for cost, and special summon the vanilla. This would still be able to do that because it tributes for cost and would technically resolve engrave. So you could still play around to be able to banish the skill drain. So that's and I mean, it's not just skill drain, it's any back row, but for that matter, skill drain is the main reason that we play this. So yeah, I wouldn't change it. I really like this card. I know a lot of people are going to be like, why are you not running Levineer? Levineer was literally like, I want to keep this a 40 card deck. Levineer was actually the 41st card. I didn't feel like Levineer was that necessary because the only thing you're going to really do with that is a monster reborn effect, and this deck has plenty of different ways to actually reborn cards and bring them back. And yes, you can make the argument that Dictator is a dark, so you'll get the ability to pop cards, but that situation to have Dictator engrave was too situational because you're not always going to get to Dictator because Dictator is actually like not really searchable through anything. So like you're not, that situation is never really going to come up. And I've play tested with it. Trust me, like I said, whether it's with the new support or any version with back in the day with Dragon Link or the XE version, I've played every single version of this deck, and this is the one that I think is the best. You may have a different opinion, that's you, but this is what works for me. Then we have 3 Dictator. This card is stupid. I find it very funny that out of all the new support cards, this is basically our version of Magician's Souls. It's just a cold, harsh truth. It's just sometimes not as good. And I find it hilarious that this is the best support, and at the time when I bought the new support, this was the cheapest card. I found that really, really funny. This card is the best extender we have in the deck now. He's a Monster Reborn, and people sleep on his other effect where you can manipulate, non-activation effect, you can manipulate what your opponent attacks, which is really disgusting when you pair it with Jet. Moving on to the tuners. My tuner lineup, if you've seen my previous Blue Eyes deck profiles, my tuner lineup is still the same. 3 Sage. He's the heart and soul of your tuners. 1 Maiden, 1 Ancients, 1 Legend, and 1 Master. I know a lot of people don't run these lineups. They run more eggs. I get that. But in this build, you'll see why my lineup is the way it is. Master, when they do, if they still run Maiden and stuff, they normally don't run Master anymore because we have access to Dictator now. I understand the reasoning behind that, but in my personal opinion, Master still comes clutch because it can add any of these back from grave. And the ability to basically get a double Monster Reborn, one off of Dictator and one off of Master, is kind of disgusting. On top of that, it shuffles back for cost, so it dodges Called By, which helps out too. And it can special summon basically anything back. So it's a Monster Reborn on legs, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, since we run Dictator and we run Master, I'm not running Monster Reborn. I am not running Return of the Dragon Lords. Those cards are too situational. Well, Monster Reborn is not as situational, but Return of the Dragon Lords is too situational for me, and I brick on that fucking card way too much. And on top, so I want to minimize on all the situational cards. So because Blue Eyes bricks as it is. So, with that being said, I'd rather run Monster Reborn on legs that gives me multiple effects. Yes, you can argue that Return of the Dragon Lords protects your stuff. I get that, but at the end of the day, we're not really worried about protection anymore. Why? Because your #1 priority is going to be able to get Jet on the field. If you get Jet on the field, you're protected, so you don't have to worry about it. Well, Return of the Dragon Lords can protect Jet. No, don't worry about it, dog. We'll have other ways of protection. Don't worry about it. And if Jet gets destroyed, that's fine. Then there's no way they're going to have double like Regekis or shit like that in their hand, and if they do, then they just deserve to win. The Master does come up. The 1-on-1 is fine because we run Shinshin. So after we banish this, we can just make Shinshin. When we attack with Shinshin or they battle into Shinshin or something, we could just use Shinshin to recycle our Ancients and then Master to add it back on the normal summon if necessary, if you need it back in hand to be able to pitch it again. On top of that, this can search any of these basically, so it works out. It's because this is basically 3 other copies of any of these. If you know me and my tuner lineup, that is my tuner lineup, and it's probably never going to change the way I play this game. On to the hand traps, whether they're monsters or not. I got 2 Ash, 2 Imperm, because these 2 are the best hand traps in the game, hand traps wise, the actual hand traps. And this is also resettable off of your Tyrant Dragon. So 1 Valor because it's searchable. And the reason why we run minimal hand traps is because I'm running Crossout Designator. This deck is still very weak. And when it comes to playing through hand traps, even though we have some extenders now, if you don't open very optimal, you're not playing through much of anything. And Crossout is a deck thinner card, and it just says no to these cards because these are indirectly the most impactful cards against us. You can say Nibiru, but I'm not going to main deck Nibiru. I side deck Nibiru, so Nibiru can be a side deck card for this, basically, to fuel these. And your side deck will work well with this too, so it works out very well. By the way, if you've seen my Galaxy Eyes profile on how, or my Galaxy Eyes deck building like tutorial, I kind of use the chassis from that for this. And what I mean by that is, since that deck is kind of like, not really bricky, but like doesn't have as much like consistency or 1-card combos that other decks have, you can't really maximize on your defensive / going second cards that much. You can only give yourself a minimal amount, and the minimal amount of this deck and that deck, if you've seen a video, that still gives you the access to maybe 1 or 2 and then still have combo, is 8. So whether it be in hand traps or go second cards or protection cards, I use 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is the perfect number between 7 and 8. That gives you the percentage to potentially draw 1 plus combo. So basically, yes, I understand if you're going to be like that, then some people would think, well, Drip, one hand trap's not really going to stop somebody. I get that, but at the end of the day, you're going to potentially slow them down enough unless they're a tier 1 deck or tier 1.5 deck. The one hand trap could potentially slow them down permanently or slow them down enough to where they can't get to their full inboard, and then the rest of your hand is just gas, so you can just go off. The cross out, I don't want to play this deck without cross out. I tried it without it, and I tried it with, and it's just better with cross out. On to our spells, the rest of our spells. This next card, if you've seen my previous lists, you'll understand why my tuner lineup is the way it is. Because I rely on this card, and a lot of Blue Eyes players don't use this card, and I don't understand why. I use Mausoleum of White. This card is disgusting because, by the way, the #1 priority for this deck is to get to Hulk. The Hulk combo is the #1 priority. So this plus Sage is 1 card to 2 card Hulk. So basically, your #1 priority is you want to see this plus Sage, or Sage plus Dictator. And that is like 9 cards, and you're almost guaranteed to at least see one of them and then be able to dig or search for the second one, if that makes sense. So Mausoleum is really good. And on top of that, this card actually has, this is the reason why we run the 3rd vanilla, is because it helps you helps you deck thin, along with this card alone is actually single-handedly allowed me to get over big beat sticks, because it's secondary effect where it can target, send to vanilla, and it gains 100 attack for the monster's scent level, basically. So stuff has gotten big, and just being able to push over things. So Mausoleum is Mausoleum, and I love this card in Blue Eyes because of definitely against with Maiden. When you use Maiden, to use this to target Maiden, use Foolish of Blue Eyes, and then you special summon a Blue Eyes off of Maiden. So it's really good. I was running 2 Melody because technically Melody is not that necessary anymore now that we have the access to Dictator, because he's our extender now. But still, like I said before, you kind of need to get the alternative as fast as possible, because if you don't see Dictator, the secondary option will be this and alternative. You really want to see Dictator, but this is the second lineup. So I wanted to maximize on the consistency where I want to see something at least. So I am running the 3 Melody still. I know some people are not going to agree with this, but I am on 2 map. I know a lot of people run 3, but my outlook point is I'm not wanting to resolve this more than once, and if I have to, I don't want a 3rd one lingering around in the deck to where I'm seeing it when I don't need it, basically. So 2 is fine, because that mainly you don't want to see the 3rd one, and like I said, you're not going to want to resolve this more than once anyways. So with that being said, 2's worked out fine for me. It searches Sage, all that yada 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 jazz. 2 trade in. 3, you don't really want to see this card too much. Sometimes I felt like I needed the 3rd one, but other times I didn't. It just depends. This deck still has the potential to brick a fair amount. Till Konami actually gives us real support and stop giving all the support to Dark Magician, we're still probably going to brick a lot. So, but that is what it is. On to the generic one-ofs, just utility cards. I got 1 Tactics because hand traps are hand traps. You're not going to see cross out all the time, so this will help you dig more. Or if you have combo and they hand trap you and you still have combo, you just rip cards out of their hand and just plus. I did want to try to find room for a second one, but I didn't want the deck to be above 40. So 1 Ultimate Fusion. This is another one I wanted to try to find room for 2, but I don't want to brick on it at the same time. So it's a love-hate relationship, because when I was running and testing 2 of this, I bricked on it all the time, and I don't want that, so I just kept it at 1. I am still on the 1 Poly. I think the utilization of this card with Abyss Dragon is just too good not to run. I know a lot of people have cut this for a second copy of Ultimate Fusion. I do not agree with that. So, but I feel like the 1-in-1 is perfect. I am on the 1 Shrine because it is a 1-card combo when you pair it with Spirit Dragon. You send this and send Ancients if you brick at least, and then that will basically kind of get you to your Hulk combo, if that makes sense. And then the last card in the deck is Burst Stream. You can argue this is a brick card, situational card, dead card, But if you draw, or if you draw double Mausoleum, or they destroy Mausoleum, you just activate Mausoleum over Mausoleum, use the one in the graveyard, banish it to search this, and an alternative basically becomes that. So it gives you a go second card basically. And I know that plays around what I said about having more than 8 go second cards, but this one doesn't really come up that much. So technically I'm running 9. If you wanted to cut down and run a second Talents, or run a third trade-in, this will be the one to the flex card to do that. But I like the Burst Stream because it's basically a searchable Regeki, if that makes sense. So, but it is what it is. I like it so far. I'll keep it. That's it for the main deck. You'll learn that I'm not running True Light. I'm not running that card. Those cards are they're too slow. They take too long, and that's not the way I want to play Blue Eyes. So basically, and we're not running a Blue Eye spells or whatever in order to utilize True Light that much too. And again, with the Monster Reborns, we have 3 Dictators and we have the 1 Master. So we have plenty of ways of resurrecting along with Azure Eyes. So we have plenty of ways of reborning our stuff from grave. So the True Light doesn't really come up at all. Onto the extra deck. We got the token. The links, we got Link Haribo, the Hauki Boy for combo, and the little Uzi Vert Anaconda. This is what you send Ultimate Fusion off of to basically recycle your stuff. That's base. That's all you do with it. Nothing else. Onto the fusion monsters. One of the new boy. Tyrant. I'm not running a second copy because I run this card instead. Twin Burst. People literally disrespect this card and its abilities. These two feeding off each other is really nice because the banish effect off of this comes up a lot. And it not being able to destroy by battle is really nice. So basically, if you get this up and then you get Jet Dragon up, this card can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects because of Jet, and its already effect can't be destroyed by battle. So and you can buff him up to 4K too. So it's really nice where what this card can't do, this card can do. But what this card can't do, this card can do. If that makes sense. You don't need a second copy of this because, like I said, we have plenty of ways of reborning our cards. This one mainly being through Dictator or through Master. And on top of that, like I said before, Master actually is really good because Master recycles your tuners. And if you're recycling your tuners, that's also fueling your Dictator too, because you're getting more tuners back in the deck in order to fuel your Dictator. So these two feed off each other, and I love these cards. One alternative ultimate. This is mainly your main boss monster. This is what you're going to use to basically just end the game. I mean, I wish he had a negate effect. That'd be really busted if he had a negate effect, because then he would be basically our version of Dragoon. But then again, you know, Dark Magician, they get fucking everything, and we're always a step behind. So, but this is all for the fusions. I was originally running Neo's Ultimate, but I had to cut it to make room for other cards because I still think people sleep on Neo's Ultimate. And it's like a true ability because there's some situations where like you have nothing else on board but Neo's Ultimate, and just having Neo's Ultimate can actually go freaking burr, dude. But I had to cut it to make room for other utility cards. But I mean, if I came up to searching like summoning a Blue Eyes Ultimate anyways or putting the resources in, I was never really making that anyways because I was making this one because it was a protection effect. Blue Eyes Ultimate is too standing out in the open asking to get destroyed. So, yeah, you're always going to be making alternative ultimate anyways. On to the only XZs we run. 1 Dingirsu and 1 Zeus. You're not running any more than that. Dingirsu is just a generic, free send. So that's why we run him, and he's a protection too. And then Zeus is just a board wipe. You could argue that you could run 38 instead of this, but I wanted the board clearance basically. So yeah, that's why I did what I did. I'm not running any more XEs than that. XEs and Blue Eyes is not. You're not playing Blue Eyes. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. Onto the synchros, because Blue Eyes is supposed to synchro and frickin' fusion, not XE. We got 1 formula obviously for the Hauki Daddy. Standard basically. one Spirit, one Azurais, one Croc. Croc actually is kind of busted sometimes if you can go into it. I'll talk more about that in a second. What's really cool about that. One Shinshin, one Baron de Fleur, and then I have a proxy for you. I'm sorry I don't have the card with me. I lost my copy, and I've yet to pick up the copy of the card from my friend. It's actually, this is Red Rose Moonlight Dragon. That card is still necessary in this deck. It's really good. One thing that's really cool, but I was going to say, which works for any of your level 9s, basically, you can when you tag out, like when you tag Hulk out, actually, like, so let's say you're sitting under this. I want to slide these up real quick. Let's say you have this, okay? You can, when you tag this out, before you tag Hulk out, though, you tag this out, don't tag Hulk out yet. You can make this right here. You can make the Red Rose Moonlight, bounce a card, then tag Hulk out for formula, draw a card, and then if you don't want to make Baron, obviously, because you can't now, well, you can if you still have the level 8 on board, you can use formula, draw a card, and then use the formula and the 7 to make any of your 9s, which is really gross. So if you're playing like very aggressive, you could take these two and make your Croc, and then just pop more additional cards and then draw cards too. So you're replenishing your hand with drawing one off formula and one off Croc. So you have 2 extra additional cards in hand while popping one back to the hand and then popping one card like completely or whatever. And if you wanted to make Shinshin, you can, or whatever you wanted to make. It's pretty cool. So you get an additional interruption off that instead of just using Spirit Dragon to go straight into Azurais like the stereotypical plays that you would do. That's actually it for the deck profile, guys. This is not a locals tested, like locals played deck profile, so which means I don't have a side deck for you guys. If you are familiar with the channel, you know I provide side decks with decks that I take the locals and play. I have been playing this deck online though, but I don't have a side deck made for you guys. If you need help like building a side deck for this deck, just comment down below and I will help you build a side deck the most generic as possible, or to adapt to whatever your locals is or wherever you're playing. But that's it for the deck, guys. It's a 40 card main, 15 extra deck. I'm sorry again about having to have the proxy. I didn't want to, but I didn't want to wait any longer to get the profile out to you guys, because a lot of you have been waiting very patiently without like constantly asking for it, and I really appreciate that, and I didn't want y'all to wait any longer. But again, I hope you all enjoy the profile. Please give it a check it out. Let's see what you think. It works really well for me. Obviously, there's still some problems and issues with the deck, but that's on Konami's end instead of ours. But again, I feel I'm happy I got to make another Blue Eyes deck profile for you guys. But again, please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're returning or just want to see some awesome content from me, or at least the best content I can bring you. You might not think it's awesome, but I think it's awesome. But again, please hit the like button, subscribe. Check out the description for all of the ways to support the channel. And you all have a wonderful night, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this video. Hope you guys are staying safe out there in the age of COVID. And it's your boy, Brendan. Drip out. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.